Hi everyone, welcome back to the discussion we're having on the final season of The Walking Dead. Tonight we're going to be discussing part 2 of Acheron, so it's episode 2, Acheron part 2, and I'm joined by the lovely Reina again. Do you want to say hi to everybody, Reina?
Hello everybody.
Thank you so much for joining me again. We were reminiscing last time because this is the final season of it coming to an end. It's quite bittersweet. We don't want to dwell on that too much, but of course reminiscing that's how we met. We met each other at a convention, and yeah, just share those memories and part of the Walking Dead family that we are a part of, and it's very close to our hearts. So with that being said, Acheron part 1 last week. We know, and I should point out as well, that we are going to talk about these episodes, so there will be spoilers, so just to put that disclaimer out there. But Acheron part 1 left us on a bit of a cliffhanger last week, didn't it? Because Maggie was there holding on to the train carriage. Was Negan going to save her or not? It looked like he wasn't going to, because he left her, which I was a bit shocked at. I was thinking, oh, I thought Negan was going to save her. Anyway, was she going to fall? Was the horde of walkers going to get her? It was a bit tense, but it was a good opening episode, wasn't it? Because we felt the energy of that. So part 2, obviously we're keen to know what's happened. And she manages to get through it herself. She is a fighter. Negan didn't go back. And of course, he went in and he sort of lied, but he didn't. Because he did say she was right behind me, which in a way was true.
It was true. He didn't lie. He didn't
lie. No, he just left out that little fact of I left her there. But what I find interesting is we had the crew A and crew B, of course, crew A being the ones that are, underground and subway, and they're currently fighting off these walkers or protecting themselves from these walkers. And then we've got crew B, which is a smaller group, which are at the Commonwealth. They're having interviews. We heard last time they were going through these interviews, in an extensive process to get through and be assessed by these auditors. And we heard the term reprocessing, so that was making us think, what is going on there? What kind of things are they being put through? And I think I got it wrong, thinking that the picture on the wall was Yumiko's sister, but it was the brother, wasn't it? Because she was talking about a brother on this episode. Yeah. So then I was thinking it was a sister, but not. So that was.
I did think a sister as well.
Yeah. So
yeah. I think in this episode we did get to see what reprocessing means.
Yes. Yeah, it's I did find it interesting though with crew B still, because when Eugene was having a bit of a emotional moment, shall we say,
mental breakdown.
Yeah. It was, yeah, because he kept going to that one stormtrooper, didn't he? And the stormtrooper was like, "There's nobody in there." So
yeah, I found that a bit confusing as well, because before that she was all excited to have toilet paper, and then she disappeared. I was like, did she flush herself or what happened? Like, what?
Where has she gone? But because he was kind of saying there's nobody there and all of this, your friend's not there, or whatever he said. It then makes you think, well, is Eugene actually going a bit crazy? What is the reality here and what's going on? But of course, he has to go through his own interview again, but this time with the orange stormtrooper. So that woman had gone somewhere, still got the same note taker.
Yeah.
With his packet of pens. And the orange stormtrooper, the head honcho, if you like. So I thought that was quite weird, but obviously.
Yeah, Mercer is his name, isn't it?
What's his name?
Mercer.
Oh, I don't know.
Name. Yeah, I played a game on my phone, so that's why I know.
Oh, he's not much fun though, is he? He's not much fun.
I don't like him really. I find him weird. I'm like, so what is your deal in here? Why are you here? Like, you don't show any emotions. You don't have emotions. You look like an orange. You're really annoying. Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, he's the Darth Vader in between the stormtroopers, because Darth Vader was black and he is orange. So
orange. You've been tangoed, really. Yeah.
You had too much armor.
Yeah, but that was interesting because we know, and we spoke before recording this, that it was funny. I say funny, I don't mean that disrespectfully to Eugene's character, but obviously he is kind of pouring his heart out about thinking that it was, you know, he'd sent everybody on this trip, on this quest, because he wanted to find this Stephanie who he believed could be his true love after being on his own for all that time. And he did admit, bless him, that he is a virgin. And
oh yeah, poor Bubba. Really.
What we found funny was the fact that we were talking in the last podcast about the fact that Eugene had a tendency of observing other people getting jiggy with it, and he admits that in this episode, doesn't it?
That was so weird, and that made me laugh because we spoke about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I felt bad for him, and at the same time, I couldn't stop laughing. It was like the hilarious moment in the episode, and I really think we needed that because it's been two pretty heavy episodes already.
Yeah.
But I felt bad for him. I was like, oh, please let this Stephanie be real for him because he needs some loving.
He needs some loving. Yeah, it's always been unrequited, hasn't it, for him? And his efforts have gone unnoticed. And he's so. I mean, I love it when he talks. That obviously the writers, in terms of writing that character for him, I've got huge appreciation.
He's annoying the shit out of me because of the way how he talks. I can't stand it. I really can't. I'm like, just shut up. Talk normal.
It's very much his character, though, isn't it? It's very much into him being.
I think that also is because, you know, when he first joined The Walking Dead, you know, the whole incident of lying that he knew the cure, and he was using all these very expensive words that I think that's a little bit of the reason why I hate that he talks like that, because he came in being protected by Abraham and Rosita and all the others, and then it turned out he was a liar, and then he was a big ass coward because when he first came in, he didn't seem as big as a coward as that he actually is.
Yes.
And I think that just done it for me. Of course, Eugene had a couple of really good moments in the Walking Dead universe, as well as the bullet making down the sanctuary, which basically made Team Rick win All Out War, because without him doing that, they wouldn't have won it. So he did have good things, but you know, he's been having silly things all since he was there. I mean, remember when he puked up all that macaroni on Rosita?
Oh, that was gross. Yeah.
He always has these weird things.
Yeah, true. And the weirdest thing at the moment for me is that ponytail.
I can't. It's so fake.
What is even the point in having that attached to the back of his head? What is the point?
I mean, just give him like try a mullet back, because I think that looks pretty much realer than this ponytail.
It does. Because you know when they had him on that kind of on the back of the truck thing, and obviously he had his head covered, but you could just see the pony. Because I was thinking, oh, I wonder who that is. I saw the ponytail and I thought, it's Eugene.
Yeah, I don't get that. Like they didn't thought about his hairstyle.
No.
But also, speaking of hairstyle and looks, Negan looks very old.
He does. Yes.
Like if we see how Negan, aka Jeffrey, looked at like when he came in.
Yes.
And we look at him now. He's aged quickly. Sorry, Jeff. No offense, but it's just something that stands out.
Yeah, but he's very still handsome. Yeah.
Again, sorry, Hillary, but you know he is.
yeah. But no, in terms of that Negan character, it's almost like he's a bit more kind
like
of.
He's having a really rough time, and I think that's why they make him also look older. I think because when people have a rough life or like a lot of stress, they turn to look older, really, quicker.
Yeah.
So it works out for him. Let's be honest, it does. But it's just and back with Gabriel is still Gabriel, only with one eye, and I still don't like him.
I know. Well, obviously, we will get on to Crew A, but just to finish off on Crew B, really, because when Eugene eventually caught up with the other three, because they were then getting fast tracked, weren't they, into the Commonwealth?
Yes, they were, and I think that had to do with Yumiko, which having her case on the table, be like, oh no, I know what you're doing. You just want to
definitely.
know what our jobs are so you can replace us with the same jobs in your world. And
Yes.
I'm all for that because I like rules.
Hmm.
And I think that was what they needed from her to get her reprocessed. That
Yes.
as that the whole time when they had those interviews, Eugene answered all the questions, but they kind of kept secrets. That's why they were being put back in the cell. So
Yes.
when Eugene finally told the truth, how hard it was for him as well, and how funny it was for us to hear it, it did get him reprocessed, is what I think. I think
Yes.
that was
Yes.
all they needed was the honest truth, like who you are, what you want, and if
Yes.
you just tell us the truth, then we'll let you through. So
Mm,
but now, like last time when I said like I think they are the bad guys, thinking about on this episode, I'm doubting. I'm starting to have a little doubts on it because they were fine when they got like put back together all together. They were laughing and they were happy, and Ezekiel had medication, and
mm, mm.
and what I found remarkable was sadly they did not put no any subtitles under that or like translation is um I think it was Spanish, I'm not sure. But when Princess spoke the different language with the stormtrooper,
It did sound that. Yeah, it did sound like
I
it was.
I kind of wanted to know what they were saying, but
Yeah.
they didn't
Yeah.
translate that for us to
No.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Exactly. Exactly. And also, Eugene. Another thing that popped into my mind when he was in his kind of, I was going to say in his cell, but it almost felt like that. But when he was there before he got taken in for his interview, emotional interview,
Hmm.
um, wasn't he carving out some kind of weapon?
It looked like he was making a spear or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then when he was talking and you could see his hand down on his knee, and I was thinking, oh, is he going to like suddenly do something not expected of Eugene and suddenly grab this weapon?
Oh, I didn't think about that one. I didn't
Yeah,
make that, but I think
yeah,
because he's so much of a coward, I would be really surprised if he would do something
it
like
would,
that.
yeah, yeah.
It wouldn't
It
cross
would
my
be a
mind.
it would be a massive twist if he was to do that, and of course he didn't. So begs the question: what is he going to do with it, or was that just a pointless thing that was in there? But when they were there and they were kind of ready to go through to this new, I say new life, new start of whatever is awaiting for them, who appears? But Stephanie. So Eugene's Stephanie is there. And I know I said to you before we come on to this, is she all that she seems?
She looked like Ugly Betty for me when I saw her first. I don't know. Do you know that show? She looked like her. That made me laugh. Um, yeah, the moment when she came in, they had them lighting behind her, like she came in and it looked like she was an angel or something.
Oh, it was
That was
very
kind of
nice. Yes, it was. Yeah.
it was really weird to me. Um, I I have a feeling she is who she says she is,
Okay. I
only
just
because I think Eugene needs a break.
he does. I get that. It would be lovely for him to have happiness, but there's a little part of me that just thinks because that was so angelic and so kind of
Right.
oh, everything's perfect. You kind of think
Last time we saw something angelic, it was Lori in the white dress and she was made up.
so. You just don't know, do you? And I mean, she
I
could
think
be.
that's the best thing of this show is like you don't know who you can trust. You don't know
Yeah.
what's gonna happen. Like you kind of
Yeah.
like you think you know something and it turns out you don't know.
Yes. Yes.
So
No.
I think that's something that through all the seasons they've done that very well because you never know.
Yeah.
It's like and what we said the other podcast, what the other episode was
Mm,
with the bite mark with Carl. How
mm,
many weeks have they teased us thinking who could it be, you know?
mm, mm,
So
mhm.
I think with them surprises and stuff, and when you think you know something, you're just quite wrong. I like
Yes.
that about The Walking Dead. I think that's a very there's not a lot of shows that have that element in it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. So we'll leave Crew B where they are for now, but Crew A back in the subway tunnel, train carriage. So we know Maggie actually makes her way back up inside.
I was upset about that. I really hoped it was Daryl and that Maggie wouldn't come back because she fell down, and then walkers were like
Yes.
immediately on top of
I
her. I
know,
mean,
yeah,
this happened with Shiva. She was a tiger and she couldn't win. So how the
yeah.
fuck did Maggie came out of that?
Oh, that episode
And with
broke me.
Shiva, it was even they were rotten. So that's something that never made sense to me because
Yeah,
they were rotten in the swamp with the
yeah,
Shiva when Shiva died. They were rotten, so there would have been one claw and they would have fallen apart. But
yeah,
then Shiva died because obviously the CGI was very expensive. But Maggie coming out of that like
yeah.
that easily,
Mm-hmm,
and then a
mm-hmm.
tiger doesn't, didn't really make sense to me.
I know, and with that whole thing, I mean, I actually did cry at that episode, and that was over a CGI. You know, Shiva's not
The
real, and
man in the blue suit is what I call it.
I was devastated. And Ezekiel was so upset, and I was just like, oh, you know,
He was screaming. I didn't cry only because right before that episode, I saw how they did her, like how they did Shiva, and I saw the man in the blue suit, so I couldn't take it seriously no more.
yeah, yes,
I couldn't. I was like, oh no, the man in the blue suit is dead.
yeah, yeah. No, that's it, that's it.
But yeah, no, I was upset that she made out. Because it would
Yes,
have been interesting to see how she would have saved her ass, and we didn't get to see that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And I
and
think
Negan was kind of shocked.
he was. I would say, yeah, he was. He
he,
was right because it's
he
almost
was
like,
looking like shit. He was like,
yes,
shit, it's her. You could
yes.
see it off his face, and I was like, oh damn, now we're gonna get it. This is by Negan. That's what I thought.
Yeah, and because they'd had the face off, well, they had two face offs, didn't they? Like last time, and then this was another one because it was almost like, oh yeah, you're okay. You're gonna blow my my little story, which of course she did and relished in that fact. But what I then found disturbing to see was when that kid, so the two that had scarpered before,
Gage.
the kid and the older guy, he's then in another carriage and he's kind of stuck there. They can't get the door open. Then you see the walkers coming in and you're like, oh geez. So of course Alden wants to help, but Maggie's saying there's not, we've not got enough ammo to basically put down the walkers. So in other words, sacrificing this kid. Now I'm sure that kid says I'm sorry or something like that. I can't really
He
remember.
said, I'm sorry, I've been foolish, I walked off, I won't do it again, please help me. And at the point that he stepped that, the walkers were still half a trailer away, like half
Yeah.
have a, how do you call it, train,
Carriage. Yeah.
carrier,
Yeah.
away from him. And Alden is yelling, we can get him out, there is enough time. And the big black dude, I don't know what his name is.
No, I don't know.
He tried to help him, right? They did try to get that door open, so Negan tried to help as well. And then Maggie was like, no. And I was like, you say what now? I'm like, you did what? I was like,
yeah.
Hold up. She's like, we're not saving him. There's no time. And I was like, this is unfair because you just punched Negan in the damn face for the same damn reason he left you behind, because he wanted to save his own ass.
Yeah.
You're trying to save your own ass now, and that kid's dying.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I believe I thought it would have been honest if Negan could have punched her back, or someone did punch her back in her face, because that was, it was a gruesome moment when they ripped him apart as well. Like they did it really slow. I was like, oh.
Yes, it was. But the fact that he actually chose to stab himself to not be kind of taken alive in that way, that was awful. But also the fact that they were watching it happen, they were just standing there watching him. And I just, for me, when Maggie took that decision, I was just like, bitch. That's how I felt. I was just like, what a bitch, because exactly like you were saying, it's double standards from what she'd just gone through. There's somebody there who's part of your community or crew, new or old, whatever. There's somebody
probably saved her life when she was on her own,
Yeah. Do you leave, and it kind of made me think of that whole question. Could you do that to someone? I couldn't do it. I would try whatever I could. If I couldn't get that door open, but I knew I tried to do it, that's different. But she was just like,
that's different. See,
it's different.
I couldn't do it. I mean, I wouldn't do it to my worst enemy, really. If there is a split moment that you know, or that there is time you can save someone, why wouldn't you? I mean, again, Negan's words, people are a resource. You need each other.
Yes.
You need each other in that in some kind of situation.
Yes.
Um, I would have tried to save him.
Yeah.
And even though her saying we don't have enough ammunition, but Negan's got a goddamn crowbar. He's slashed more Walker's brain in with a baseball bat and a crowbar than anyone else. I
Yes.
mean, you can just grab an arrow and stab him in the head and pull the arrow out. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to cost that much ammo. You don't have to use your guns.
No.
Um, but yeah, I was upset about that, especially after that. He killed himself because he didn't want to feel how he was going to be ripped apart.
Yes.
And then the moment he changed and came back,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and then you see Maggie crying, and I'm like, you have no goddamn right to cry about anything because this is your fault.
I know. And what I also thought as well was the blooming walkers got in there anyway. They all got in there. So the thing she was worried about, you can't save him because they're going to get through and not got enough ammo. They still managed to get through because it was
They
Daryl
did.
that came and saved the day, wasn't it? I mean, admittedly, the group did do what they could, but it was Daryl that came back in the end
Yeah,
and saved. So they came
absolutely.
through anyway. So they could have saved him or tried to save him. So that peed me off as well. I was just like,
You see Alden on there at that moment. There is like a close up on Alden's face, and he's like sitting like this, and he's
yeah,
looking up like Maggie like that. And I was hoping he would say something about it, like, "How dare you? You just
mm,
said this, and now you're doing this yourself." I hoped he would have said something about it, but he
mm,
kept close because Maggie comes up with this stupid story about women in a attic and then cut off limbs and there were things inside. Then I'm like, no, maybe they were pregnant, Maggie. That was a weird
yeah.
story. I'm
It was
like,
a good story. I couldn't quite grasp why she was even bothering to say
I
that.
think everybody was looking at her confused, like, why are you starting up this story? Nobody cares. Like, I was like, but it didn't even make sense on the situation. I mean, I think she tried to get empathy and sympathy at that point, and like trying to make it justified what she did, but in
Yes,
my eyes it wasn't justified because that situation was completely different.
yes, yes,
I
yes,
mean, you didn't trust the dude who said he had food, you killed him and you went exploring his house. I mean, if you know there's a zombie apocalypse and there's nobody in the house, don't open the attic.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, if
yeah,
there's people up there that are tied up there and trying to get free, they would have yelled for help maybe.
yes,
So
yes,
why do you open that basement or attic or whatever it was
yeah,
in the
yeah,
first place when you have your kid with you? See,
exactly. Yes,
but the story at the moment of the storytelling, it didn't seem to justify anything for me. It was just her trying to justify herself, and a lot of people, I think Gabriel bought it. Well, he buys fucking everything that Maggie says because he's her little heel licker at this moment, I think. Um, and then she said something else, and Negan responded to that. And again, there was this little moment between them that they looked at each other.
yeah,
And I was thinking, because he was being deadly honest at that moment and he wasn't being nasty, but we don't quite see Maggie's reaction. We know they're looking at each other, but I'm like, how is she taking that response? Like, is she going to punch him again? Or because that story gets kind of old now. I mean, we're
yeah,
only two episodes in. She's already got punched what in his face 3 times, 2 or 3 times. It's getting old now, dudes. We know you hate Negan, but you guys need him.
yeah. And it kind of proved himself. But there was a moment where she gave him the gun, didn't she? And that also made me think of the whole Rick and Daryl passing of the gun. Can't think what series it was, but we've already spoken, haven't we, about how they are kind of
I
putting.
think that was season 3
Okay, yeah, I
when
can't
they
remember.
fought and they fell off that cliff into the pit and the walkers were falling down. Wasn't it
Mm,
that moment that they were fighting each other because Merle just had died or something? There was something about that, but I do know what moment you mean. Um,
yes.
so yeah, for her to give him a gun,
Mm,
um, there must be some kind of little bit of trust there, because he just left your ass somewhere to die, and then you pass him a gun. Like, it's
Mm,
either you ask for being in trouble, or there is something about him that you think you can trust him. Otherwise,
yeah,
you wouldn't give him a gun.
yeah. Well, exactly, exactly. And then he gave it back to her towards the end, but there was like a lingering grip of the gun, wasn't there?
Don't let
And
me don't fall in love. Really, please don't do that. Cause that's what I'm thinking with that. Like, they were touching each other and it took too long. Hand the gun, grab it, and piss off. Like, it's
do you know what I was thinking though when they did that? It was more of a kind of without words, just holding the gun, like he was giving it back to her, but he still had hold of it. It was almost a kind of, now this is going to sound out there, but it felt to me like he was saying, you know, you can get your revenge one day, but not just yet. We need to pull through. Do you know what I mean? Like he's
I
holding the
know
gun.
what you mean. I don't like that answer.
I
No.
no, I don't obviously because I don't want him to, but it just made me
It
think of
was a
that.
weird moment. I think it's
Yeah,
more like a, you can trust me kind of situation right now.
yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah.
let's keep it on that, because the whole
Let's
Maggie versus Negan situation is, it's been for so long already. Like, she just came back in the show, and the only thing that we've got to see from her was her hate towards Negan every single time she was on screen. Um,
yes.
which, like I said a couple of minutes ago, like, it's getting old. Move on.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with that. I agree with that. So of course, as we were saying, you know, the horde managed to get through to that carriage. So defeats the object completely of what she was trying to achieve before. They do what they can. And then Daryl, who had been somewhere else in the underground because he went after Dog. So he discovered some other things, didn't he? It gave it
Yeah,
that more.
he whacked that wall out of there, and he came in a
Yeah,
different tunnel,
yeah,
finding that old man being half
yeah,
eaten,
yes,
and getting his part of his ammunition back, because he said, I lost it. Now I wonder, where did you lost that ammunition then? Because you
mhm,
must have been somewhere to get really jacked up like the way you are right now. Um,
mhm,
that moment of Daryl in the tunnel, was, I found that interesting, because of the whole wall painting on in the tunnel itself, that
mhm.
stood for something with kings and new light and new life and death. Um, I've tried to find pictures of it because I wanted to, relook at it again, see if there's
Mhm.
any biblical situation or verse or anything behind that. Because sometimes you see that, the wall paintings, and it's something biblical.
Yeah.
Um, I couldn't find any pictures, so I wasn't able to look it back to chat. But um, who made it there? How long has it been there? And it's definitely made during the apocalypse, because we've seen that there was quite some people living in there. If you look at all the trash
Mm.
and the blankets and the old man that Daryl stabbed in his head, which I thought he was actually maybe still alive for some reason.
Yeah.
Um, and why particular take a couple of minutes with them little boys on the notes with the pictures?
Yes.
It was like, normally when they find something, it's like a quick glance, we see what they have, and we move on to
Yeah.
the next thing. But this particular thing lasted at least 5 minutes.
Yes.
The whole letter and the brothers and then the pictures. So I'm wondering, are they still out there?
Well, they could be. Yeah, there has to be significance to it, doesn't
Well,
there?
I had a little theory about that. So
Mhm.
again, guys, spoiler alert, but this is just a rumor that I think, because it were two black boys on the picture.
Mm.
I think that little boy is the Orange Stormtrooper.
Mm. Interesting.
Because,
Mm.
the whole haircut he had on the picture, it made me think maybe that's the
Mm.
Orange Stormtrooper. That's Mercer, I think.
You might have something there. Well, we'll have to obviously see, and if it
Yeah,
does,
but that's
oh,
that's what popped in my mind when I saw it,
yeah,
because why would they otherwise take so much time to spend Daryl looking at a picture? Because Daryl normally
Yeah,
doesn't
it would
care about
be,
stuff.
no, it wouldn't usually happen, would it? It wouldn't usually happen. So
No.
that's a very, yeah, that's an interesting point. We'll have to see what comes of that. Because you're right, it wasn't just a passage through and that was it. There was more lingering to it. When he was going through the tunnel, it felt a bit claustrophobic to me. I didn't like that really. But I imagine what I would be like in the same situation. Like,
you imagine the smell with all them bodies down there.
well,
Like,
yeah,
imagine the normal smell we have nowadays in the sewer, and then imagine it's filled with bodies.
yeah, that'd be gross. And then of course, like you say, the older guy, one of the ones that scarpered, then appears. So that there is still a bit of mystery around that, I think.
Yeah, he told Daryl not to go that way, but why? Because
Yeah.
he died before he could tell Daryl why.
Yeah.
He said, "Don't go that way."
Yes.
Wasn't that something he said? So why not? What's up there? What is there?
Yeah.
What wasn't he able to tell? Because it leaves open mysteries, doesn't it? And then we have dog running off into a pipe. This stupid dog. Just leave it. It's gonna cause your death. And then of course he crawls in behind the dog in the pipe. So, because that was something that I actually was like, I paused it and I looked at my husband and I said, "Is that a scream? You hear someone screaming in the tunnel." And that's why dog runs off. I don't know if you caught on to that, but
No, I didn't.
barks, runs into the pipe, and you hear like a "Rah!" You hear that really loud. There's someone screaming on the other side of the pipe.
Wonder why and how I even missed that, if that was what it was like, but I did miss it.
There was someone screaming. It was really sinister, loud, dark scream, like someone was being eaten alive.
Oh, that's horrible, isn't it? Yeah.
It sounded terrifying. When I heard it, I thought of a different show that has demons in it, because it sounded like a demon. And I was like, "Is that a scream?" And you hear it again. You hear it 3 times. You hear this person screaming his lungs out.
So the whole thing about them being down there, and certainly the name of part 1 and part 2 being Acheron, which, as I mentioned in the last podcast, is a Greek river, but in ancient times in mythology, it was known to be the river of sorrow, the river of woes, so leading to the underworld. So you think of the dark and the depths there.
Yeah, see, it makes sense when you said that. I thought about that later, and I'm thinking, because it leads to the underground, is what you said, right?
Yes.
And it's the last episode, so it's leading to the end.
Yes. Yes.
So it's leading to a certain kind of doom, like with screaming people in sewers now, and all them weird dead people that look strange. Because the walkers look weird as well. They look weird, and like there's something about them, like they've been like tested or something, and I don't know. They look like experiments.
Something a bit odd. But we know that Daryl, bless him, he finds his way back to the train and the carriage that, well, it's a bit further up, isn't it? Because he gets there and he's able to kind of and then he goes forward, and there he is, the proper hero, taking them all out as he's going. And part of me was thinking, I hope he's going to know when he gets to the real people, and he doesn't just go on a full-on mission and shoots them all by mistake. Not that he would do that, but it was
so funny.
He was just going for it, and I'm like, your gang is up there, but be careful. But of course, I knew what was coming with the grenade. I thought he's going to get so far, and then it's going to be the grenade, and that's what's going to finish it off. And sure enough, he puts it in that one's mouth, doesn't he? Which is a bit
push them backwards, and then we've got a big splash.
Yes.
Disgusting.
But obviously saved the day. But of course, the darkness didn't really stop there, because when they were able to get out and they're back on ground level, it's still dark. So it's still a contrast to Crew B, because they're in the more light kind of area of the Commonwealth and everything. This is really dark, isn't it? And they come out, it's nighttime, and they're walking down, and then they see those bodies hanging from the trees, lining the path, which was just made my skin crawl because they were hanging from their feet down,
Yep.
but be lining the path. And it's like, whoa, what is going on here? But you said something very interesting to me before we recorded. So
Yes, we did. So last episode, I said like I think they're doing memories in every episode from previous seasons.
mhm,
And the thing that stood out for me in this episode was actually that road with them people hanging from the trees. Because Negan is saying like, oh, it's been a very long time since I've last been here. It hasn't changed a bit.
mm,
It's the same road that in season 8, beginning season 8 or 7. I can't remember when Simon popped in. One of the first episodes that we got to know who Simon was, he was beating up a guy on the side of a road because apparently they killed all his companions and said, you people still don't want to listen. So we strung him up and made an example of him. And then you see them people hanging from the trees, and that made me think of that phrase that Simon said, because he was hanging people upside down in the tree. So that to me brought a tear and a laugh to me because
mm,
I clocked on that to that point immediately when I saw that. I recognized the road with Negan saying with if, and then I could just see Simon standing there saying that while punching that dude because it was the same road, it was the same spot, and then the phrase, and then the bodies hanging. Yeah. So I think that we had a memory right there, and the other
yeah,
memory that I found in this episode was actually still in a train when Negan was pacing around in the carrier, and Gabriel asked him what's wrong with you, and he said, "Oh, I've got bad memories," which made me
mm,
think of when he was stuck in the trailer with Gabriel when he first spoke about his wife,
mhm.
and when he came all in with his bad, be like, "Oh, it's gonna be poo poo pants city here right soon. Hope you're wearing your shitty pants," or something
Really,
like that.
yeah, yeah,
And then Gabriel got into his head in some way, didn't he? And then he started telling about Lucille, about his wife,
mm,
and he says no bad memories, and that was also surrounded by walkers, just like the train was. So I think that was a memory back to that point, and then we had a memory of Simon at the end, and
yes,
then you see these weird people that looked like they stepped straight of the Purge movie, walking
yeah,
on the road like those are. Didn't they not say like before Maggie called something Reapers?
yeah. I thought
Um,
that'd be them. You know, I was thinking, is that
I
them?
think it's them.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but we don't know anything about them yet.
No,
Because
no.
only in one of the additional episodes that we had in the sixth, with Aaron and who was the other one that was with him? When they found a dude and the dude came from Terminator. I can't remember his name, but you know who I mean, right?
Yeah,
Um, the
kind of
man
think.
was like the Bat one in Terminator 2, I believe. Um, I
Kind of
think
think.
he was a Reaper, wasn't it?
Ah, yeah, yeah. Could have been. I did actually write a quote down, which I don't think I said last time. I'm just going to find it because it was when Maggie was talking about that group. So I'm just going to try and find it. Oh yeah, they come at night, and by the time you see them, you're already dead. And of course, they come at night. They come at night, ugh, eerie. Like just, I'm not a fan of horror movies or anything. A lot of people say, "Why do you watch The Walking Dead?" Because it's zombies. It's not about the zombies for me. In fact, I find the zombie bits a bit grim and a bit gory. But I love the story of the characters and following the journey, and it's just like, you know, I am
It's
hooked on.
not only that. I mean, the first two episodes, obviously the zombies were the main part when it started, but all soon enough it started to go about survival and the people that
Yeah,
they came across with. So
yeah,
zombies basically became like the side story to it. To
yes,
me,
yeah,
that was
yeah,
because
yeah,
you see less and less of them
yeah, 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 yeah,
over those times. They get older, but the zombies rot. So there should
yeah,
be a point there wouldn't be no zombies anymore because they're all decayed, like so
yeah,
badly they can't even stand no more because they're falling apart.
Or that's why they need time to sleep.
Well, yeah, that was just weird.
Like we discussed in the last, anyone who's not caught up on that, you know, we did cover the fact that in part 1, in the army hangar, where you've got all of the zombie army soldiers who have obviously turned, but they were sleeping, which we just found to be, like Reina mentioned it, and I was like, well, good point, because yeah, I don't think zombies do sleep. They're either
that was just weird. I still can't believe they did that.
Yeah, that was a bit odd. That was a bit odd. But that group then, yeah, so they came out of that. Well, they were approaching them from that kind of
yeah, they walked like in a V, kind of like one up front and then to the side and to that side, like in like a V shape.
Yeah.
But that was so quick and so fast, and
Yes.
then it was the end of the episode. So
Yeah.
basically, almost. No, it was the end of the episode because that's where we
Yeah.
stopped. But what I found really weird was they immediately attacked, didn't they? Like knives throwing, arrows, and nobody
Yeah.
saw it coming. And still, they wounded a couple of them because one they had to drag away, wasn't it? He had the knife in his kneecap.
Yeah.
How are they gonna go? How are they gonna get out of that? Like, I'm scared for Negan and a couple of others, not Gabriel and Maggie. Hashtag.
Yeah.
But how?
I don't know.
It's if Maggie says when you see them, they come at night. When you see them, you're already dead. So how are they gonna get away from that?
That's true. I don't know, because you almost think, because it was going to be one of my questions, do you think they're going to be captured? I mean, they're not going to be slaughtered because that'll be too many of them to take out in one go. But you know, whether they're going to be captured or if they're just going to have a standoff, where they're going to be, you know, it's one of those. Clearly,
I think they flee. Honestly, I think they find a way out.
Yeah.
I think they find a way out. I don't think they're getting captured because Maggie already said they kill everything that they see and come across. So I don't think they capture people. I think they just slaughter everyone they see and grab their stuff and survive.
Maybe Negan will save the day again. And
how weird would it be if it's like remaining saviors and they recognize Negan?
Yeah.
You know, because they didn't all die, did they? I mean,
No.
Regina and stuff came out. They got out. So
Yeah.
who says that they are the only ones that ever got out? Maybe there's still saviors around.
You never know. Exactly. You never know. So another question that, I mean, we've covered it really, but one of the questions I wanted to ask, and I guess anybody watching it really, whether you think Maggie made the right call in that carriage about that kid, considering that they still got in. I mean, I feel, and you feel, no, she didn't make the right.
That's a good question for the viewers, so that if everybody who's watching, did you think Maggie made the right decision on not saving Gage? Please let us know in the comments below, and we will answer your question and share it in the next episode. I think she hasn't. There's no way, just because the fact that she has no right to do that after she just blamed Negan for doing the same thing.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
If she was like to Negan, like, yeah, I understand why you did it, bro, we're gonna be friends now, and she does it then, I would be like, okay, cool, fine. I wouldn't have no problem with it. But the fact that she did a no to him and then doing it herself is going against her own beliefs.
Yes.
And then no. But no.
Yeah.
No.
No. And do you think that they will? You think they're going to be able to get away from this potential Reaper crew if it is the Reapers?
Yeah, I think they're fleeing. I think they jump back into, like, because Daryl was in a different side of a tunnel, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So maybe they jump back in that tunnel.
Yeah.
I mean, they're close to it, so why not?
True. Yeah.
I think at one point, weirdly enough, just popping in my mind, that old man who came in and said you don't want to go that way.
Yeah.
Maybe he got away from them.
True.
Because we don't know what he was running from.
No, we don't. That might be revealed, mightn't it? Yeah. Exactly. So it does. That's why it's good with the suspense element of it, because you don't really know. Now, in terms of Crew B, as I refer to them as.
Yeah, but I'm also
I've already
curious about other characters that we still have, because we still have Jerry,
yeah.
and Carol, and Judith, and RJ, and so what are they doing? Are they just, laying around somewhere? Like, what are they doing? Like Aaron and his daughter, like there's we only see a particular two groups right now. So I want to know what the rest is up to.
We
Really.
do, but through a lot of the seasons, we found that as well, didn't we? We would have episodes where it would follow like one or two characters, and to a certain extent, fine. But then I would be thinking, come on, I want to get back to the rest of the group now. I want to kind of know what's going on with them. And we know that Connie is out there.
Yeah, I find that weird, because is she dead or is she not? Like, they never really got back to her, and I'm pretty sure that they showed us that she was still alive, because she was laying under them rocks.
Yes, yeah, she was. Yeah. Yeah,
so
she was.
Is she coming back? Because I don't know, she was a good fighter, and she wasn't. Like, she was okay.
Well, of course, it was that guy that kind of swooped in and took her.
Right, that's Sergio, wasn't it?
Yeah, which she would have thought, oh, somebody's saving me, not knowing, anything.
He is giving her weird things to trip on right now, like he did with Michonne.
Probably, yeah. She's just tripping out in the woods somewhere.
She's just laying in some room being like, "Oh, I'm so high."
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, I've asked you this as well, whether you think Stephanie, because that was the other point, whether Stephanie is all that she seems.
I think she is, because I do believe that they're going to give Eugene his happy ending.
Yeah.
Come on, he needs to be off virgin before this season ends, because it's going to be all gone. Give this man a break.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But then she might still break his heart, but I don't want to say that, because I agree. It would be nice for him to have some kind of happiness, wouldn't it? Really?
Like a little family, like a little baby Eugene with like a little boy with like a mullet running around. And they call it Abraham or something.
Yeah.
I can totally see it.
Now, that's an interesting concept, actually, that you say Abraham, because I was always, I mean, I know I'm a Rick, I love Rick, miss Rick and everything. Rick Grimes all the way, but Abraham, I mean, also, and of course, I've met Michael as well, who is just amazing.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And that character for me, it was, Team Abraham and all of that.
Yeah, I never cared for Abraham's character.
No.
He was too cocky, he was too like, oh, look at me, I'm a big tiger, I've got muscles.
That was probably what I liked about him, but
I didn't like it at all. If they sound too smart there, I don't like him, Eugene.
Yeah.
If they're too cocky about what they look like, I don't like him. But if they're pure and pure evil and want to destroy everyone, I do like him. With mustaches. Or baseball bats. I do like them. So, but yeah, I am more bad boy kind of type anyways. Always have been like that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, and well, Simon, of course. But if Abraham had been in Negan's position at the end of part 1, do you think he would have saved Maggie?
Oh, he would have shot her straight to the head before she fell. Oh, he would have done that. He would have like grabbed his gun and shot her for the head immediately.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have even waited. He would have pushed her off the train himself.
So is this Abraham we're talking about, or Simon?
No, it's Abraham. She didn't even have a chance to get on that train if it was Simon. She would have already been dead in the front of the tunnel.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, because I was trying to think of, the other characters really, and how, because you do think all the different things that has happened, the choices that they've made in that group and the losses and everything, and it would be a different story now, wouldn't it, with different characters at play. And if Simon was still there, whether he would actually be calling the shots a bit more, whereas Negan is speaking up, but he's not being overly forceful, is he? Because he's trying to still be part of.
Oh yeah, I think Simon would have just just see if he could find a gun, and he would have killed them all immediately, like he did with the scavengers. He was that kind of person. I mean, let's be fair. He would have shot everyone.
Yeah.
He would have shot his own. He would have, if Simon had a wife, he would have shot his own wife to get out himself. It sounds really bad, but it's true because he was about surviving himself. Because what he
Yes.
said to Negan all the time, like we need to kill him, otherwise it's us or them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was right on that. Let's be
Yeah.
honest about that. But he
Yeah.
was about his own people and his own specific group of people, and Negan was about basically resources. And he
Hmm.
was wrong in that one because look what happened. I mean, if
Mm.
he would have listened to Simon Moore, Sanctuary would still be there, and he wouldn't even be in that tunnel.
Hmm. Hmm.
Probably would have never met Alpha, which he brought her up as well and said, "I killed Alpha. I did what I had to do."
Yeah, in the woods with the socks.
Ugh, terrible,
I just
terrible.
want to put that memory back in your mind, but
No,
totally. I mean, not just that moment, but he did have to kind of go along with what they were doing for a long time to earn their
yeah, but
trust.
you know what the weirdest part is? Not just that he shagged her in the woods. Just please take your socks off, man.
Oh, I mean, we've talked about this in a number of podcasts. It's quite interesting how something like that can spark a discussion that goes on and on, isn't it? But
That's a moment we still be talking about in 20 years from now.
it probably will be. I mean,
It would be.
completely naked apart from your socks.
Yeah, like what was who I wanna actually talk to the person who wrote that point in the script. Cause what's going through your head at that
Yeah,
point that you
yeah.
write that?
It's yeah, just crazy, crazy.
I mean, you're
But
gonna tell me he walked out of them woods with a sock around it and just got out of that way? Just it's now and because I don't know if you remember, but first he she took a shit in a hole in the ground and she kicked him in there, and then after that she had sex with him, but they don't have showers because Alpha don't believe in that. So just to cover that they had sex while he was covered in fishies with socks.
very sexy.
I think I dried up immediately. 18
I
plus
love,
content, people.
I love it.
If your kids are watching, turn it off now.
Well, clearly, Alpha must have found it, a bit of a turn on, but you know,
It's just weird. It's right. It's okay. It's your king, but it's not mine.
it's no grim, but
No, but he did mention her. But then again, I'm like, there's no point of mentioning Alpha to Maggie because Maggie wasn't there. Like
yeah,
she doesn't know who she is. Does she? Only from the letters that's been sent it to her.
that's right. Yeah, she didn't experience it. Well,
So
we
in
don't.
what kind of extent did that actually mean anything to her? Because we don't know what she knows about them.
Yeah,
Um. So
exactly.
yeah, like it's just
Mm,
I don't
mm,
know. And then we have Yumiko going all crazy to that woman and be like, "Oh, you have a system here. I like rules. I'm from Harvard and Oxford. Blah blah blah."
mm.
And they'll be like, "Okay, you go to the next round and you're have a chance on the refrigerator." Um, I wonder if in the next episode we get to see that they actually do have them jobs because I know in the comics, spoiler alert again, people, they do have that system of lawyers are getting to become back lawyers, and they have this whole system to rebuild society.
Mm.
But I don't trust that lady. There is something about her that I don't trust. If it's the really bad haircut, I don't know, but there's something about her. I mean,
I,
with a haircut like that, you need to be a psycho.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's something about her, but when Yumiko was actually really empowered in what she was saying, you could see that woman was like taken aback, wasn't she? She was like, mm. So
She must have been a really powerful, successful lawyer if you heard her talk like that.
yes, yes. So that was the power dynamic changed, didn't it?
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see
And
what happens.
they were all happy. Like Ezekiel was happy, and Princess was happy, and they were all happy getting a cuppa in that other trailer and being like, "Oh, hey,
Mhm.
hi, Gigi," and I'm like, "This is." I don't know. I don't trust that woman. That woman gives me Diana vibes. Do you remember who Diana is? Was that what she was called?
Or Deanna.
Diana, the one
Right.
from Alexandria that they had to
Yeah.
sit down and being
Yeah.
recorded and having all these questions.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe it's another memory. I don't know. But she reminds me of her when they all had to sit down and Rick had this big ass beard and
Yeah.
they were being recorded and they need to tell who they were and who they were with and what they
That's
did in
true.
their past. They were the
Yeah.
exact same questions.
Yeah. That's true. That's true, actually. I mean, I've not read the comics. I don't read the comics, so I don't know in terms of what might be coming up potentially. If
I
it
don't
is.
read the comics neither. It's just here and
Yeah.
there I just catch on to something.
Yes, yes. But I don't know whether in the comics, sort of as this final season plays out, whether eventually everybody's going to end up at this Commonwealth, if that's going to be the end goal, of that's how it's, I mean, I don't
I
know.
think Kirkman actually teased it that there's only going to be 2 survivors.
Really.
Yes. So
Mm.
there's going to be a lot of loss if that is because he said that to comicbook.com or something. I read an interview months ago and that he said there would only be 2 survivors.
So two
And
of the current lot, not ones that are alive at that.
no, of the current lot.
Yeah.
Which I know who are named. I'm not going to name it here.
Mhm.
Um, one of them doesn't make sense to me actually. But that's what I heard because in the comics, and everyone who reads the comic knows about it, knows that Negan is the only one that survives because Negan gets exiled
Right.
in the comics.
Okay.
So he is basically going back to a cabin, which is basically the cabin where we saw him in, where Carol brought him. But they already covered that part, so I don't think that's gonna happen anymore. Because we already seen the cabin, we already seen him bury Lucille, and that's what he does in the last comic
Yeah.
book. He buries
Right.
Lucille, he gets
Okay.
into that cabin, and he moves on. He's the only one left. But we
Yes.
already covered him burying Lucille and the
Yeah.
cabin,
Yeah.
so we're not gonna have that ending. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I suppose as it gets closer to it and the more things happen, it might be something that if there's likely to be a sense of, right, a lot of people are going to sadly, meet their demise, that maybe we could do a prediction thing of putting a name in
Yeah,
an
that
M.
would be nice to
Yeah.
see what people think who are gonna be the last 2.
Mm, mm. And just see what that's revealed. But no, I
I
mean, it's gone.
Who do you think is next to die from the people we have now? Who do you think is gonna die in the upcoming episode? Like, if it's gonna be the next episode or that, there's got to be someone dying either next week or the week after. It has to be.
I would, I mean, I'd like to say, not that I like to say this, but I'd like to say that it would be a minor character. So I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but I wouldn't think it would be the likes of a Negan, a Maggie,
No.
a Dan, for example. I think it would be more like what's that guy's name? Luke? Is it Luke?
Luke. Yeah. Oh, he's
Mag,
still alive too. Yeah. I already
uh,
forgot about it.
those
Magda.
the newer characters,
Yeah.
which, get me wrong, they're still valid, but I would say it would be a more minor character. Now, bearing in mind, we've got that Reaper crew that have kind of approached this one gang. Maybe it would be one of those, or maybe the more minor ones of that gang. Perhaps they're going to get taken out, or something like that.
I think it's gonna be a big one.
Yeah.
There's a big one, a big and a little bit of minor one who has been big in past seasons, had a bigger role. But there's 2 on my mind that I think, and that's Jerry or Gabriel.
Well, Gabriel, in a way, that wouldn't bother me because he's annoying me. Like and
Same, same.
I had a soft spot for him at one point, but he was so he was so quick to back up Maggie with that whole, and he is.
Oh, he's been annoying me for quite the last season, like even the season before here already, because he suddenly, out of nowhere, because nobody's seen it, he had a leader role.
Yes, I agree with that.
With that whole board that they had in the voting committee that went about Negan's faith. I think that's what it did it for me, was when Negan was in jail and he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna vote about your life. Like, who the hell are you?
I know, but because he's like, the man of Christ, he's,
Oh, he's you go to hell, Gabriel. I'm sorry, but you're not of Christ anymore.
It surprised me that he was so quick to make that decision of sacrificing somebody.
Well, that didn't surprise me at all, because he did that in the past with his own people, didn't he? He locked them outside the church.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that is a good point. So he's actually returning to more of that side of him.
Another memory we forgot.
Yeah.
Right here. Yeah, he locked them all out, and even that girl that he liked. Remember the woman that was in the basement that came out of the water again? So he sacrificed people before to save his own ass. So I wasn't surprised with that at all.
Yeah, he has. I mean, admittedly, when the Whisperers War was going on and he was kind of there on his own before Maggie came in, I actually thought he was gonna, that was the point where I did think he was gonna sacrifice himself for the good of the group, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, I know which part you mean.
Yeah, because I kind of, I was thinking, oh, they're gonna get him now, because he kind of told everyone else to go, didn't he? But then right at that last moment, Maggie comes in with that other guy. And that's the thing. I mean, I'm not following what their names are, these new characters, because they don't really, and it sounds bad to say, but they don't really mean much to me, because I know we're on the final and they're not really adding much for me at the moment.
I know that Maggie named them a couple of times, but I didn't caught on their names.
No.
Because I just want to know what's happening. Like, and they're not interesting enough to me to think like, oh, I want to know more about these people, because we don't see any of them, and the only thing we see from them is Maggie's orders.
Yes, exactly.
They're like Maggie's little minions.
Yeah. No, totally. So I'll ask you this as well to sort of round off our discussions today. Standout character for you for this episode. Your favorite character, strongest character, that might be, but your favorite standout character of episode 2, Acheron Part 2.
Okay, so with crew B, that is the crew at
the Commonwealth,
right? Strongest one of them is Eugene, because for once in his life he told the truth.
He did.
It was really brave from him to tell everybody he was a virgin.
Yes.
And the other ones, Alden, for trying to save someone that he actually doesn't know, because they were with Maggie, and Alden just kind of recently just get to know him, but to have the effort to save someone, try to save someone, that stood out for me. The downer of this episode, again, I am very sorry, but the same as last week, it is Maggie.
Yeah.
And Gabriel, with that. Those were my least favorite, and I would not be shedding a tear if next week they would die. I'd be hanging out the flag, really. I'd be celebrating that, and maybe I'm sorry, and there's a lot of people that would hate me or hate people say that, but I wouldn't care if they die. No.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think Alden, certainly because his reaction was one that came straight away. It was a quick instinct of saving somebody, and that shone through, and he wasn't afraid to fight for that, was he? Even though he didn't win that fight, but he wasn't afraid to be like, no, we've got to save him. And it was like, no.
Up against Maggie, why he wanted to save him.
Yeah.
And that comes across with what we said. Like, there was enough time to save him.
There was enough time, and still got in the carriage. The walker still got in. So, you still had to use your ammo, Maggie. Like, it just irritated me.
Even cost you a grenade.
We've not got enough. Well, have a bit of faith, because Daryl's coming right behind, and he's got his weapon, and he's got, like you say, the grenade. So not that they would know that.
Negan had a crowbar, he couldn't smash in. They had knives and arrows. And how bad is it because they're already falling apart, stick in your arrow, pull it back out, stick it in another one, pull it back out. It's not that hard. We've seen them do that before. Daryl does that all the time. So why couldn't she do that?
And when they did come in, they already had that formation of, right, we've got this line that are going to do theirs, and when they run out of ammo, they step back, the other ones come. So they could have
easily done it.
Yeah. They already had it raised, so it really irritated me. That poor
and then
boy.
Maybe we would have known what happened to the old man, because they left together. He came back.
Yes.
So, maybe there's some very, 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 very important information that's been gone there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I know, and the poor boy, so he, got sacrificed, but killed himself to then be taken by the walkers, which was just, not necessary at all. Clearly it was for the episode, but at Maggie's instructions.
Maggie's not making points, let's be honest. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Well, so we'll see what happens, but any kind of final thoughts from you, final comments from you in relation to what we've seen so far with both parts 1 and part 2 of Acheron, because it was, 2-parter really to open the season?
A lot of memories.
Yeah.
A lot of flashbacks for me in other seasons. And I'm excited for next week. Monday, exactly. Yeah. I'm excited. What's gonna happen now? Yeah, I have a feeling something bad's going to happen next week. I have a feeling we're going to lose someone next week.
Because of the Reaper crew?
No, just
something else.
No, it's because, let's be honest, everything that's still left in Alexandria aren't really necessarily fighters. All the strong ones have left. So Alexandria has never, ever been an easier target than they are right now.
True. Yeah.
Because all the strong strike close combat fighters or arrowmen or swordsmen or however you call it, they're all in the tunnels or they're at the Commonwealth, because the only ones that are left in Alexandria right now who know how to fight is Magda, Kelly, Carol, and Jerry.
Yes.
Because that's the part where we have all the kids at. Herschel's there, Judith is there, RJ is there. Oh, Aaron we've got still there as well. So
true.
We only have a handful of fighters left in Alexandria, which they are with more people than they have ever been before, because that's why they needed food.
Yeah, they needed that.
So what's happening if them Reapers have 2 groups and they just stumbled across one, but the other one is heading towards Alexandria?
Exactly, and they're still trying to rebuild Alexandria, aren't they?
Exactly. So who is going to save them? Like, what is happening down there? I want to hope to see on Monday what's happening right now in Alexandria, where they are at. I want to know what Judith is doing, and Carol, if she's looking at ghosts in the wall again, like we have seen before, and if Jerry is eating peach cobblers. I just want to know what's up.
You want to know what's going on? What's going. Well, hopefully we will, because I think, with this being a 2-parter to open it with, they probably just wanted to follow those 2 kind of crews because it linked in from last week.
Well, they need a strong beginning, don't they? Because to get the viewers back up.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully, this next episode, we're going to see some of the other members. We are, of course, going to see more, I would hope, about this potential Reaper crew, because they can't leave that for another episode to you know, to find out, because people are going to want to know who are they and why are those boxes hanging in the trees. So yeah, so that's going to be interesting, but we'll have to see. So yeah, and until next time, I mean, obviously we'll catch up on the next podcast. As always, anyone that gets to, you know, view this, thank you very much for watching and for listening to us talk about The Walking Dead, because, you know, we like to talk about the episode, but as you know, other things come up. We bring references from the past, because there are, as Reina said, a lot of kind of hidden sort of messages in some way, or throwbacks to previous episodes and characters that we're enjoying reminiscing about. So it just adds more to the discussion. But we're really interested to know what you think, if you're liking the final season so far with the 2 episodes that have already been broadcast, what you think might be coming up for the future. Do you think Maggie was in the right, as we've said today? You know, what's your views on that? Have you got any other views about the characters? Who do we think this crew is that's come out of nowhere, out of the darkness, you know, at the end? Could they be the Reapers? So leave us a comment, you know, like, share, subscribe wherever you can. We really appreciate your support. It just helps the video get out there to other people to just join the discussion and all come together as part of this Walking Dead family.
And I'm going to put a question in there for the viewers and listeners right now.
Yes.
Can we trust Stephanie? Yes or no? Let us know in the comments below.
Because I would say no, but
say yes.
Yes. Yeah, I've just got this little, there's something little, it was too angelic. It's almost like too good to be true. It's like a taste of honey and he could get bitten, you know, it's almost a bit like that. But I would like to be wrong, because I do want Eugene to be happy, or at least be able to lose his virginity. But we will see. But that's my view, you know, that's Reina's view. What do you think? So yeah, is Stephanie who she appears to be? Because of course they've built up communicating over the radio for quite some time, didn't they? And it was, you know, they built up that trust. But is that even Stephanie that he was talking to, or is that someone else saying, I'm Stephanie? Because he told Orange Stormtrooper that he was looking for Stephanie. He could have just gone and found a girl and gone, can you go and pretend to be Stephanie?
That's very interesting that you say that, because I've not thought about that before.
Couldn't he? He could have just gone.
If there's any listeners listening right now who know how to speak Spanish, tell us what Princess said, because I want to know.
Yes, definitely. And it's so funny because, well, I'm going to be studying Spanish. I've got a course, but I've not started yet. So it's like I only know a few words. I don't know. So yes, it would be really helpful to know what she said, because clearly there's something in that as well. But yeah, I reckon Orange Stormtrooper just went up to someone in the Commonwealth Garden and he just went, all right, mate, can you just go and talk to that guy with the plait?
I'll give you 2 rolls of toilet paper. Sounds like a COVID situation.
Yes, I'll give you some toilet roll. You just got to pretend you're Stephanie, you know, just pretend that you're enamored by this guy with this long plait.
Yeah, but Eugene is smart. He would have recognized the voice, wouldn't he? I mean, voices do change over radio, but not that much.
Well, yeah, but is he so, with his heart and his loins, is he so kind of, you know, oh, he's just desperate to see her. So it's like, I'm Stephanie. And of course, she's got glasses on. She looks all very, doesn't she? And like we were saying, the angelic light, is it a mirage? I don't know. I'd like to be wrong about it, but that's why we'd be grateful for your opinion on it. I would say no, there's something that he needs to be a little bit wary of there with her. Reina's like, no, she is fine. She is solid for Eugene.
Yes, they are match made in heaven.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I'm wearing the love. Share the love for Eugene and Stephanie.
Let's make Eugene a daddy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so I honestly, I do hope that I'm wrong, but that's my opinion and my feeling at the moment. There was just something that I was like, I'm not quite sure. So leave your comments, but also about anything else that we've discussed as well. And also we mentioned last time about your favorite standout opening episode from across all of the Walking Dead seasons, because this is the finale. We don't want to talk about that too much, but for us, we were saying that, you know, season 7 was quite a big one, because that was the the one that we were anticipating, a lot of us were anticipating the most, because it was like, who is going to get the wrath of Negan's Lucille? And it was that whole build up, wasn't it? Who is going to get it? It's going to be them, all the teaser trailers. So that episode, and it was very intense. It was shocking. It was gripping. It was everything rolled into one.
It was the most remarkable episode ever made in a TV show. Shocked so many people that a lot of people stopped watching the show. It's one of the gruesomest episodes we have ever known in The Walking Dead at that part, because we had, of course, the most gruesome became Alpha with spikes, with the heads of the spikes. But at that point, that was one of the most historical TV moments, actually, we have ever seen.
Yeah, it was pretty astounding. Yeah, pretty astounding.
Also, if there are any memories that we did not cover in our podcast, let us know down below. If there is any memory that you clocked onto, that you saw, that we missed, let us know so we can talk about it, because I would like to know if we actually cover all the memories that they put out there for us to see.
Yes, definitely. And those eagle-eyed Walking Dead viewers, you know, between us, we're going to spot things, aren't we? So, because we're invested in the show from the beginning. So, you know, someone might see something that we've not seen, exactly like Reina says. So definitely comment below and getting involved in the discussion. It's really great to have that interaction as well. And then that informs some of the discussions that we can have on here, and we can go through things in more depth. So we really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. And thanks for being with me again, Reina. Really appreciate it. And any final words from your good self?
Like, subscribe, comment down below. Don't forget to follow and share on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And we would love to see you back next week.
It froze it. So it was like, yes, definitely. That was a message that people needed to hear. That was said with conviction and passion. But yeah, for sure. And certainly, you know, on the social media page, I mean, there's not many followers on the social media, on the Instagram page, but again, spreading the word and trying to get that interaction and involvement, it really helps, because then it can just give us other layers of the discussion. So yeah, I probably repeated myself. Good.
Give a special shout out to Amber, really dear friend of mine. She's been sharing the podcast crazy on Twitter and on her Facebook. So thank you for that. Keep it up. Get a thumbs up. And a special shout out to you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, really appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. Thank you to anyone that can do that, because it just helps, doesn't it? And it's nice to know that it can be entertaining for other people to watch. And, you know, you could be watching it and you could agree with what we're saying, or you might not. You might have different views. Like, there's probably people out there that love Maggie right now. So again, let us know. And it's, you know, it's everyone's choice, isn't it? So thank you so much, Reina. Really appreciate it. And we'll obviously catch up with episode 3 on Monday. So here in the UK and Netherlands for yourself. And then we'll catch up again, you know, in a week's time, whenever we can, to talk about that episode. So yeah, get your comments in and we can cover some of those as well in the meantime. So thank you, everybody, and hope you have a good evening. Take care.